Good morning. Honorable Premier, Honorable Deputy Premier, Honorable Leader of the Opposition, Honorable Ministers and Members of Parliament, hardworking parliamentary staff, senior civil service officers, youth parliamentarians, other distinguished guests, and parents, boys and girls. It gives me great pleasure Jackson, the chair of the Duke of Edinburgh Awards program. Young people, it's an excellent program for young people. And if you have not been involved, you should see her afterwards and talk to her about it. Our Paige here, who's really our Deputy Sergeant at Arms, is a former awardee of that program. And it does a world of good for young people. We are proud to participate here today as this is the first event, first Youth Parliament of this new autonomous status of being a parliament. This is an event that should have taken place in early March as part of the Commonwealth Day celebrations. That's when it usually is done. However, this year's Youth Parliament had to be postponed to accommodate the general elections. We here in the Cayman Islands branch of the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association are very pleased to welcome each and every one of the 22 young people participating in today's Youth Parliament. They have put in long hours in preparation for this event, cutting into their school and study time. Many of them are facing examinations and had to take time from studying and preparing for those exams. Their participation today is a testament to the dedication and the seriousness with which they have approached their involvement with the Youth Parliament program. We are grateful to our youth parliamentarians this year for staying the course and remaining ready to participate in this event. We really, really appreciate your efforts, you being here. As the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association states on its website, and I quote, "Young people are of great importance to the future of the world. Nowhere is this more apparent than in the Commonwealth, where they form approximately 30% of the population, a demographic of over 1 billion people. As such, the CPA believes passionately in engaging with young people to ensure they are effective future leaders," end of quote. The Youth Parliament is an important program for promoting and engaging with future leaders. The Cayman Islands chapter of the CPA has embraced this concept enthusiastically over the years. And in between 2001 and 2005, the first Youth Parliament was launched. I am old enough to have had my granddaughter be a part of this great event, this good program. And I know she has said to me how much she enjoyed it and how much she learned. She don't listen to me as a politician, okay? So she learned things for herself. That's good. At the same time, it gives us who have been elected for some time and are active parliamentarians an insight into the thinking, the views, the opinions, and recommendations of our young people. They may take on the mantle of leadership in the Cayman Islands one day as the politicians of the future. From choosing the topics for the two motions they will be debating shortly, and their research into the topics, to the positions they will espouse in the debates, their engagement gives us a perception of what our young people want and expect from their leaders today. I'm always glad to listen to those debates when we can. This is a golden opportunity for us to hear firsthand what our young people are thinking about some of the issues and conditions our islands face today. As was mentioned in the Census 2021 launch on Wednesday by the Premier and the Deputy Premier, without factual information, government cannot make informed decisions, and therefore everyone needs to be counted. Similarly, knowing the views of our youth on topics that affect our communities will keep the government and the principals in the private sector alike to be better informed. As one of the great United States President Franklin D. Roosevelt once commented, we cannot always build the future for our youth, but we can build our youth for the future. The CPA's Youth Parliament is one such attempt. We look keenly forward to the nature and caliber of the debates from our youth parliamentarians. I'm sure my fellow members of Parliament are all eager to hear these two important motions, and we want to thank the parents and guardians of these young people who, of course, have to work with them and help them get prepared for today. I do want to offer thanks to the clerk, Mrs. Zena Marin Chin, for her work over the term of this effort in trying to get the Youth Parliament on, her and the staff. That was done, I think, while the House was prorogued and members were somewhere else campaigning. All this took part at that time. And so we want to thank Ms. Zena and the parliamentary staff for all their hard work in getting to this point. Call now on the Honorable the Leader of the Opposition.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Protocols having been established, a very good welcome and good morning to every one of you. It doesn't get any more real than this, and it doesn't get any better than this in terms of you, youth parliamentarians, and your experiences today. You are sitting in the same seats and filling the same roles that all of us sitting here and here fill in this House and in this Parliament. And you will be undertaking and debating motions this morning in the same way and following the same rules that we follow here in this Parliament. So in terms of the wealth and experience that you will gain this morning, it is unparalleled and will serve you well in years to come. This morning, youth parliamentarians, you are in a unique position and in a unique place in the history of our Commonwealth Parliamentary Association Youth Parliament Programme. You are the first youth parliamentarians to be debating in our newly renamed House of Parliament. Congratulations to you all. You're also the first youth parliamentarians to participate in this exceptional programme with a worldwide pandemic as a backdrop. but compared with most of your peers across the Commonwealth, you have completed the program without the need for masks and social distancing. This will give you, I believe, a very interesting and particularly interesting perspective. The pandemic has reminded us all how interconnected our world really is. COVID-19 is a reminder, as if we really needed one, that our government and our parliament, including Youth Parliament, cannot ignore the impact on us of decisions that are made internationally. For example, the different approaches that countries have adopted to manage COVID-19 has certainly impacted our ability to safely reopen our borders. And the actions of the United Kingdom in ensuring that her overseas territories have access to vaccines affords us a real lifeline and a real hope to get better days sooner rather than later. The other point that is worth mentioning and appreciating is the importance of decisions taken by Parliament and government on the well-being and future of every Caymanians. With absolutely no intent on my part of being political, I believe we can all agree this morning that the tough decisions that were taken by government, supported by the Parliament and the public, has resulted in the enviable position that we find ourselves in today, with no community spread of the virus, without the need for masks, and no social distancing in our community, all because we managed to control it. Going forward, we will need to adjust living with the threat of the virus being present in our communities in some form or the other. In my view this morning, this is why the theme of this Youth Parliament, delivering a common future, connecting, innovating, transforming, is so relevant to us all. As we look to reopen our borders and connect once again with the global community, and we will have to do so at some point, we will need to innovate and transform the way we live our lives so that we can remain safe. I cannot tell you this morning what these changes will be, not because I don't know, but I do know that change is necessary, and we will do it, and we will do it successfully. Connecting, innovating, and transforming is nothing new to us here in the Cayman Islands. We have been doing this since the first settlements through to our first parliament and beyond. Throughout our history, but especially in these last 60 years or so, we have been connecting, innovating, and transforming our islands and our economy. Our great seafaring and shipbuilding traditions help to connect us to the cities and peoples in every continent across the globe. And our lives and our fortunes were transformed for the better. As the world was changing and modernizing, we transformed and innovated again into a world-class tourism destination and a financial services center. And much of that transformation, innovation, and progress was built on laws that were established by this legislative body today. So parliamentarians, you have an excellent opportunity to learn about Parliament and how laws are made. And in that knowledge, you have also learned in part how our progress and future can be shaped by what is done in these hallowed halls of Parliament. Today, you are debating two motions, one regarding implementing a website and an app that will promote available government resources and amenities, the other regarding a moratorium on the importation of motor vehicles. Both are very interesting and timely motions. And I look forward to the spirited debate this morning and to learning the outcome of these motions. I have no doubt this morning you will all do well. I understand that you have worked very hard and that you are well prepared for these morning's activities. Before sitting down, I want to thank each of you for participating in this important youth program. I can encourage you to continue your interest in the political process and the governing of this country. It is very important to you all. I also want to thank the good staff of this Parliament, particularly the clerk, Mrs. Zena Marin-Chin, and her staff for all of the excellent work that they have done in supporting this program and helping it to become a reality this morning. I also want to thank the chairperson, MP Barbara Connolly, for her leadership over the past 4 years. MP David White, who unfortunately cannot be here this morning because he is away with a family member who is recovering from surgery in Miami. Ministers, and the Honourable Kenneth Bryan and the Honourable Bernie Bush, and former MP Alva Saku for their contributions as members of the committee. Youth parliamentarians, I wish you the absolute best today. Your experiences in this youth parliament will serve you well into the future and the years to come. Please make the most of it this morning, and above all else, enjoy yourselves while you're doing it. Thank you, everyone.
Call now on the Honorable Premier.
Mr. Speaker, thank you for establishing protocol. And firstly, let me apologize for the absence of a couple of my government colleagues who absolutely wanted to be here. That's Minister Andre Ebanks and Parliamentary Secretary Heather Bodden, who have unfortunately been called away by ministerial duties in Cayman Brac. With that said, I want to say good morning, and I bring you a very warm welcome to today's youth parliamentarians, their families, friends, and supporters, and those within government and parliament who have been working since last year to make this possible. I'm proud to be the Premier to welcome you to the 14th Youth Parliament in the Cayman Islands. Usually, our Youth Parliament is held each year on Commonwealth Day, which this year was 8th March. But the decision was taken to move the Youth Parliament debate to a date after the April 14th election. I believe the decision to postpone the debate until today has given the 21 youth parliamentarians, or the participants, a unique look at the democratic process. You were afforded the opportunity to meet with members of the last government administration and watched as a new administration was formed. You saw that the election represented the collective will of the Caymanian people, and you know that it is now the constitutional and moral responsibility of those who are sworn into office to ensure that the will of the people is reflected and respected in government's policies and priorities. You also saw that a coalition of independents have agreed to come together to focus on the 95% of the solutions for the country that we all agree on, and we're setting aside a few, perhaps 5%, that we may have varying views on. While we are all independently minded, and we should be, our common purpose is to uplift and make life better for all Caymanians and those who call these shores home. Ours is a packed coalition standing for people-driven, accountable, competent, and transparent. While we adhere to our founding principles, I want to focus today on the people-driven aspect, and particularly on the inclusion of our youth. Your attendance here today shows me that you care about democracy and our Cayman Islands. Since October, you've been working on building leadership skills and gaining knowledge and understanding of the political process. Your 2 motions, implementing a website, an application for promoting amenities and resources that benefit the Cayman Islands community, and the motion, moratorium on importation of vehicles, shows me that you do have your finger on the pulse of our nation. Your research has unearthed some interesting facts that I'm sure will make for very lively debate. It is my hope that you keep your fingers on that pulse and take part in the future democracy of our country. I believe that all parts of society must be included for any political system to be representative. And that includes you, very importantly, our young people. If our youth become disenfranchised or disengaged from the political process, then a significant part of our population is voiceless and has no influence on the decisions that are made that affect their lives. At the end of 2019, the latest population estimates published indicated that those aged 15 to 34 made up 25.9% of our population. That's a lot of voices that government needs to hear from, because our decisions on policies and programs do affect your lives. And I'm not just talking about today. When young people are engaged in the political process, they have a say in helping to formulate the politics of tomorrow. Your political participation is a fundamental political and democratic right. It is also critical in building a stable and peaceful society and helping to develop policies that address the specific needs of younger generations. Those of you participating in today's Youth Parliament debate have an upper hand when it comes to knowing about the political process. But many of your colleagues may not know or even care how democracy works. So it is incumbent on each of us to ensure that all young people are adequately represented in political institutions, processes, decision-making, elections in particular. And they need to know their rights and be given the knowledge and ability to participate at all levels of the democratic process. Young people need to be empowered to know that their voices are going to be heard and that they will be taken seriously. We have seen young people in action the world over. From the ballot box, where more than half of the eligible Americans younger than 30 voted in the presidential election, which was an increase of 10% from 2016. We have seen on television and social media young people taking to the streets to make their voices heard, fueling the most significant protest wave in the last half-century. Young people led protests against long-standing economic inequality in Chile, against police brutality in Nigeria, against corruption in Lebanon, and against endemic youth unemployment in Tunisia. Had those governments allowed the voices of their younger generations to be heard and respected, we may not have seen those protests. What all governments must realize is that the youth of today will be the leaders of tomorrow. And looking around this room, I see hope for the future of our Cayman Islands. And that is good, because as the men and women who make up the parliament today become the stuff of history, it is your generation that we will look to take on the mantle. In the words of former United States President Ronald Reagan, and I quote, "Each generation goes further than the last or than the generation preceding it, because it stands on the shoulders of that generation." You will have opportunities beyond anything we've ever known. I know that is true for me personally. My political career has been built on the generations that came before me, a long line of family members who were public servants, who fuel my desire to get involved in government and contribute to the success of my country. Once I became a member of government in 2013, I realized that not only was it some of the most rewarding work I had ever done, but it also felt very natural. And if you do find yourself in an elected position in the government of the Cayman Islands in the future. I hope you will find what I found and are filled with the determination I have, which is to make a positive difference in the lives of the people who call these islands home. I appreciate your participation here today. You are being groomed to become the leaders of tomorrow in Cayman. If not in Parliament, then certainly in the society of the future. I thank you for all the hard work that you have put in over these past few months, and I thank all the men and women who have shepherded you through the process, all the staff members of Parliament and the previous members of the Legislative Assembly moving into Parliament, as have been noted by other speakers. With that said, I know you're ready to get on with the day, and I wish you all the best of luck. I know that your deliberations will be very interesting, if not completely amazing. So let those deliberations begin, and we'll formally open this Youth Parliament. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Premier. I would also tender apologies for the Honorable Minister of Education, who have to be in her constituency in the BRAC attending funeral services. As there is likely to be a new Youth Parliament committee when Parliament next resumes, let me add my thanks to the committee for their stewardship over the past 4 years. I also want to thank Harness, who has sponsored the Youth Parliament over the past several years, and indeed the sponsorship of this 14th Parliament. On to your business.
This Honorable 14th Youth Parliament is now in session. I will ask the Honorable Premier to say prayers.
Let us pray. Almighty God, from whom all wisdom and power are derived, we beseech thee, and so to direct and prosper the deliberations of this 14th Youth Parliament of the Cayman Islands now assembled, that all things may be ordered upon the best and surest foundations for the glory of thy name and for the safety, honor, and welfare of the people of these islands. Bless our Sovereign Lady, Queen Elizabeth II, Charles, Prince of Wales, and all the royal family. Give grace to all who exercise authority in our Commonwealth, that peace and happiness, truth and justice, religion and piety may be established among us. Especially we pray for the youth parliamentarians participating in this youth parliament, that they may be enabled faithfully to perform the responsible duties of their high office. All this we ask for thy great name's sake. Let us say the Lord's Prayer together. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. The Lord bless us and keep us. The Lord make his face shine upon us and be gracious unto us. The Lord lift up the light of his countenance upon us and give us peace now and always. Amen.
Please be seated. Reading of messages and announcements by the Speaker. Members of the Parliament of the Cayman Islands, youth parliamentarians, friends, family, and other members of the public, it is my pleasure to wish you all a good morning. Before commencing, I'd like to express my utmost gratuity and honor to be playing such a key role in this honorable youth parliament as Speaker of the House. This year, the Commonwealth Day theme was Delivering a Common Future, Connecting, Innovating, and Transforming. In unity with the theme for the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting, which takes place next month in Kigali, Rwanda. After a year as trying as 2020, the Cayman Islands have displayed our strong sense of Caymankind, which is rich with unity and connection, that has allowed us to prevail through the troubling and worrisome times. With the guidance of our efficient and our strong government and the cooperation of our community, we have all made sacrifices and lifestyle changes that have allowed us to reach where we are today. The theme of 2021's Commonwealth Day can justly parallel Cayman's bright future. We all come from different countries, be of different nationalities, races, have different cultures, or speak separate languages. But we all have the same passion and drive to work together for the good of our country, connecting, innovating, and transforming for the better. The idea of coming together is also found today here in our youth parliament that stands before us, with the youth parliamentarians working together to ensure that we have a successful debate today, all coming from different schools, from different districts, and even from different countries. The topics that will be discussed today by my fellow youth parliamentarians truly demonstrates the strong desire we hold to better one's community and to provide an easier lifestyle filled with opportunities for us Caymanians. Thank you. Other business, private members' motions. Private members' motion number 1 of 2021. Implementing a website and application for promoting amenities and resources that benefit the Cayman Islands community. To be moved by the elected member for Newlands. I recognize the elected member for Newlands.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I beg to move private members' motion number 1 of 2021, implementing a website and application for promoting amenities and resources that benefit the Cayman Islands community, which reads as follows. Whereas it is acknowledged that there is a lack of marketing and promotion of services and facilities within the Cayman Islands in regards to services offered by the government, and whereas it is also acknowledged that there should be websites, applications, magazines, pamphlets, brochures, flyers, etc., as a means of distribution and awareness within the Cayman Islands to effectively educate the community. And whereas it is acknowledged that this will provide easier access and ease of reference to these amenities, such as helpful programs, transportation, financial aid, public relations, and grants, be it now therefore resolved that this Honorable Youth Parliament considers implementing a website and application for promotion of amenities and resources that benefit the Cayman Islands community.
Private members' motion number 1 of 2021 has been duly moved. Is there a seconder to the motion? I recognize the elected member for Georgetown North.
Madam Speaker, I beg to second private members' motion number 1 of 2021.
The motion has been duly moved and seconded. Does the mover wish to speak to the motion?
Yes, Madam Speaker.
I recognize the Honorable Deputy Speaker.
Madam Speaker, I beg to move a motion to suspend Standing Order 32-4.
The motion put forward is that Standing Order 32-4 be suspended to permit members to read from their speeches. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those against, no.
No.
I believe the ayes have it. Standing Order 32-4 has been suspended. Sergeant at Arms. Sorry, can she have the podium back, please?
Madam Speaker, my role today is to bring forward private member motion number 1 of 2021. In the past and up until this present moment, the people of the Cayman Islands have become reliant on, and they refer to word of mouth and hearsay to receive information. This can be observed as part of our culture that our people have adapted to and have inherited. In this acknowledgement, a dilemma has been observed by the opposition in which there is a deficiency in the marketing and promotion of services and facilities in our country, especially with the amenities this government offers. From our research as the Youth Parliament opposition, we present this first private member's motion as a solution to this dilemma. We propose the implementation of a website and application, in other words, an app that is downloadable on our electronic devices such as our smartphones and laptops. This can be designated to prove an ease of reference and access to information on the amenities and services offered by the Cayman Islands government. Madam Speaker, as I continue to present this motion, the youth parliamentarian members of the government may be thinking, why implement a new website when each of the ministries and respective departments already has their own, which provide the general public with information? If I may respond to my own question, although it is required by the Freedom of Information Law, Section 5.3, for each ministry to have their own website, it is also very important to note that the management of these websites has been inconsistent. The government has not provided an ease of access or reference to websites that operate under each ministry or their respective departments and organizations. Various forms of information pertaining to the ministries and their respective departments are dispersed across various platforms that are not user-friendly and can become confusing to members of the public who seek information. As new generations are on the rise and taking hold, the advancements of technology have proved to not only be useful, but almost vital in the operations of our daily lives, especially when you consider the exchange of marketing of reliable and accurate information or news. In regards to this motion, marketing is the promotion of information and services through reliable platforms that are operated by the government of the Cayman Islands. The proposed name that we, the opposition, have come up with is called CI Online. This app and website can present the newest and latest news regarding government and public affairs, such as events or even coronavirus updates. CI Online would be a main hub for all the departments and ministries, including small descriptions and direct links to other sites, or within the app, a separate page with this information. This hub would make finding information simpler, as everyone would have access to the main site and app, which would allow for one to find important and helpful and beneficial information and news by following branches from said hub. It would be a starting point for the public to seek information. The government could also generate a profit by allowing private businesses to submit articles by paying a small fee. Provided that this app is properly maintained and well updated, the people of the Cayman Islands would have a secure, reliable, and not to mention convenient source of news and updates from the comfort of their homes and even in their pockets. As the name suggests, CI Online brings the Cayman Islands online for its people to use and take benefit in. Making sure that the entirety of the people in our islands receives news and updates regularly and reliably is vital to maintain our nation as one. With this app or website, CI Online, the government can utilize the field of marketing to reach out to the youth of our islands and to any who depend on receiving information as such. It can be used to reach audiences that typically may not have heard this information, or perhaps find it difficult going through several links to find it. Its main purpose will promote all current and future amenities that are offered by the government. And it is very important that it is properly maintained and updated. To conclude the points I have made, which again will be further elaborated through this debate, it is the government's responsibility to ensure that information pertaining to the amenities of their ministries and respective departments is efficiently and accurately available to the people of the Cayman Islands. And it is we, the opposition, with the presentation of this first private member's motion of the day, are offering a solution, which is CI Online, the website or app that the government can use to enhance their services and share all of their organizations and ministries to the island. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Does any other member wish to speak? I recognize the Honorable Minister of Financial Services and Home Affairs.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I rise to speak on the private member motion number 1 of 2021, implementing a website and application for promoting amenities and resources that benefit the Cayman Islands. Madam Speaker, I disagree with this motion entirely. For the opposition to say that there's a lack of marketing and promotion of services and facilities within the Cayman Islands regarding services offered by the government shows a lack of knowledge within the opposition. Madam Speaker, there are many websites that are already implemented that do in fact benefit the community of the Cayman Islands. Maybe the opposition just may not have done their research. Firstly, Madam Speaker, the main government website provides key news information. In addition, each ministry—
Sorry, Kira. I recognize the honorable leader of the opposition.
Point of order, Madam Speaker. Is it possible for the member to provide supporting documentation in regards to the claim of numerous websites that have this information?
Yes, Madam Speaker.
Can you please bring them to the table? Please continue.
So what's the opposition's excuse for not knowing this? Madam Speaker, these main websites link to departments which they are responsible for, such as General Registry. General Registry operates multiple online systems or websites for the provision of company-related services such as corporate administration platforms, vital event applications, Cayman Business Portal, and Cayman Online Registry Information System. CBP and vital event applications are targeted at providing services for the general public, while CAP and Chorus provide services to forum within the Cayman Islands to provide company-related services directly through the system without the need to visit General Registry. Madam Speaker, I want to talk about Radio Cayman, a government radio-owned station that promotes amenities and resources, regular advertisements, and information sessions. Radio Cayman provides the sister islands with 24-hour broadcasting services daily. According to www.radio.gov.ky, Radio Cayman has 66% of listeners throughout the Cayman Islands, with the highest percentage of listener hours. Radio Cayman is also the leader in local news. Madam Speaker, the senior civil servant and government officials, such as members of the government, independent members of the parliament, as well as members of the opposition, regularly take part on local talk shows to inform the public on new and existing services. Madam Speaker, I am more than happy to set up the opposition with an interview with Radio Cayman to air their false news. Furthermore, core government through the Government Informational Services has an extensive social media presence via Instagram, Facebook.
I recognize the honorable leader of opposition.
Point of order, Madam Speaker. Unparliamentary words is not allowed.
Pardon?
Unparliamentary words are not allowed.
Okay. Honorable Minister of Financial Services and Home Affairs, please maintain decorum. Continue.
When the Premier was on YouTube telling us about COVID-19 lockdown and curfew, how did the opposition think the people of Cayman knew clubs and gyms were closed? Unless the opposition trying to say that they've been clubbing through lockdown. Madam Speaker, these channels are frequently updating.
I recognize the honorable leader of opposition.
Point of order, Madam Speaker. Unparliamentary words are not allowed.
Honorable Minister of Financial Services and Home Affairs, please
My
maintain
apologies.
decorum.
Madam Speaker, these channels are frequently updating the public about what's going on in the sister islands as well as Grand Cayman. Finally, Madam Speaker, in the Cayman Islands 2020 to 2021 budget plan and estimate, I want to draw your attention to some key outputs of the Government Communication Services Department. For the provision of these services, For other government agencies, government has budgeted approximately 2.4 million CI dollars. In addition, government has budgeted an additional 1.489 million CI dollars for the broadcasting of public information and on-air programming. Now, Madam Speaker, as a result of the opposition's motion, why should there be an implementation of websites when there are already multiple websites which already inform and educate the public? Madam Speaker, Radio Cayman, a government-owned radio station and leader in local news, already promotes amenities and resources that already benefit the Cayman Islands, as well as GIS department having social media platforms. And so, Madam Speaker, for these reasons, I wholeheartedly disagree with this motion entirely. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Does any other member wish to speak? I recognize the elected member for Georgetown North.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the people of Cayman are said to be the first priority. Now tell me why it seems as if they are being put on the back burner. The people of Cayman are at a disadvantage. You may ask why. The government has done such a great job at creating programs and activities for our people. Yes, bravo to you. But what is the use of these great programs and activities if the community has it so hard to find out about them? And even worse, not having ease of access and reference to them. Particularly the youth, Madam Speaker. There are many services that are available to our youth for youth to utilize. This big booklet I have here, every single page is listed with wonderful activities that you all can participate in, but over half of them, none of us know about. There is a wall that blocks our youth from attaining information on these services. That wall is a lack of promotion in a proactive and effective way. The government has said, here is what we offer, instead of saying, come on, we made this for you. The focus seems to be on where it is coming from and not who it is being made for. I find it very interesting that services, activities, and clubs that are supposed to be for the youth are not presented in a way in which the youth would benefit from it most. I mean, how much of us really listening to the radio every day here? We all know that children are born with electronics these days. It is no secret that we all know everything and anything about them. Yet, there is no proper electronic outlet which provides all the information at our fingertips. The suggestion we, the opposition, are presenting is the creation of an app and/or website that will have a specific tab for the youth of Cayman to access and see the opportunities available to them, how they're eligible and how they can be enrolled, and the benefits of each program. The Minister of Finance has said that websites do exist, but I'm sure the government can do better than a Word document template. $2.4 million and you cannot create a proper website? Come on now, that's a disgrace. I know this because in comparison to other websites, which are not specifically made to accommodate the youth, the Ministry of Education, Sports, Agriculture, and Lands, that website is mediocre. The new website and app this opposition is proposing for the government can be built with links which are helpful, and particularly a link to the Youth Services Unit. When opening the Youth Services Unit webpage, there is barely any information of the services they offer to the youth. It opens with a page to the Proud of Them webpage and nothing else. There are links to the Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube on their website. The last post on the Youth Services Unit Facebook was the 27th of August, 2017. The Youth Services Unit offers many programs, including the booklet I just showed you all. but I know many of you may not have seen that as we don't use paper. However, the maintenance of this website makes it close to useless, and this is when the sites work. Oftentimes, the government sites do not work. Something that will forever confuse me is how this government can make decisions for the youth without consulting the youth. It should be this government's priority.
Madam Speaker, point of order.
I recognize the Honorable Deputy Speaker.
I reference my point of order to 35.4. No member shall use improper motives to another member, including the government.
Please maintain decorum, but please continue.
It should be this government's priority to inform the youth and their parents about the programs that are available to them. The way information is presented to the youth, whether it be websites, social media accounts, is largely discussed within the government. Why is the public not involved in this process? Is the government suggesting by their actions that the people of Cayman are not worth time and effort to maintain these
Madam Speaker,
websites?
point of order.
I recognize the Honorable Deputy Speaker.
I reference my point again to 35.4. She's using improper motives to another member.
Excuse me, elected member for Georgetown North, please maintain decorum and retract your statement.
I would like to emphasize the fact that it was a question. If you had let me finish, you would have known that. Is the government suggesting by their actions that the people of Cayman are not worth the time and effort to maintain the websites and other pages for them?
You have 30 seconds remaining.
Madam Speaker, I cannot understand why an efficient and convenient source of information does not seem to be the bare minimum for this youth parliament government. Thank you.
Does any other member wish to speak? I recognize the Honorable Minister of Education, Youth, Sports, Agriculture, and Lands.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I rise to speak on private member motion number 1 of 2021, implementing a website and application for promoting amenities and resources that benefit the Cayman Islands community. Madam Speaker, the assumption that there is a lack of promotion and marketing made by government services is completely unbelievable. First of all, Madam Speaker, promotion and marketing made by government services are very much prevalent. This is evident through the government's continuous use of digital and social media. Madam Speaker, how is it being requested that a website should be implemented when there are already over 7 gov.ky websites that cover all the cabinet ministries of the Cayman Islands? These gov.ky websites are rich in information pertaining to resources and services that the government has to offer. For instance, the education.gov.ky website. The website is a platform that provides Caymanian students with the financial aid
I
that they
recognize
deserve.
the elected member for Georgetown North.
Madam Speaker, does the Honorable Minister of Education, Youth, Agriculture, and Sports have supporting documents for her claim that 7 websites exist and are useful to the people of Cayman?
I believe it was provided with Kira's evidence.
Yes, it supported that. Please continue.
Okay. And even without the gov.ky websites, things like scholarships are still being promoted through other means. The Ministry of Education makes sure to even send emails out to students to remind them of scholarships. We also have persons.
Excuse me. I recognize the Honorable Leader of the Opposition.
Madam Speaker, the Minister of Education, Youth, Sports, Agriculture, and Lands, elected member for Northside, have any supporting documentation in regards to these emails that she sent out?
I legally cannot because it is confidential, but people do go into schools and verbally promote things like scholarships and opportunities to students.
Honorable Leader of Opposition.
Madam Speaker, if that's the case, is it possible for her to retract her statement?
Honorable Minister of Education, Youth, Sports, Agriculture, and Lands. if you cannot provide the supporting documentation, please retract your statement.
My apologies. I retract my statement. The point is, children are being told about the things that they are able to acquire. For example, people go into schools to verbally remind students of the opportunities they have. And even if it isn't digital or print promotion, it's still promotion. Crazy enough, the newest gov.ky website has a tab specifically for all services offered by the government: resident services, business services, visitor services, and even links to all e-services offered. My biggest question is, how different will this website be from the 7+ websites we already have? We have even taken it a step further.
Excuse me, I recognize the Honorable Leader of the Opposition.
Point of order, Madam Speaker. This member of Minister of Education, Youth, Sports, Agriculture, and Lands, elected member of Northsides, is imputing improper motives. I happen to have a copy of the website on hand, and I don't see anything that she just suggested. May I please lay this at the table?
May.
Madam Speaker, I also have a copy that does list the things that I just mentioned.
You
Please
were
be
not
seated.
She was.
Do you have supporting documentation?
Yes, Madam.
Can I also have that? Your point of order was highlighting the fact that you don't see the tab anywhere. The screenshot provided by the Honorable Minister of Education shows that the tabs are clearly displayed. So please continue, Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Referencing back to what Minister of Financial Services mentioned, not only do we have various social media presence, we have the government-owned radio station.
I recognize the elected member for Town East.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I would like to raise a point of elucidation. I would like to know if the Minister of Education, Youth, Sports, Agriculture, and Lands, elected member of Northside, has evidence such as data
Madam Speaker,
trafficking
point
of
of
how
order.
many people actually visit the website.
Please be seated. Please be seated.
Madam Speaker, point of order, he cannot raise a point of elucidation without the Honorable Minister of Education granting it.
Elected member of Town East, the Honorable Minister of Education did not accept your point of elucidation. So I would just like to ask her first if she is willing to do so.
No, I'm not willing to do so.
Please continue.
Radio Cayman actively reports information and news all day, every day to our community. And if that still isn't enough promotional activity for government services, we have CIGTV, the official television channel of the Cayman Islands government that is currently broadcasting this youth parliament. Madam Speaker, I find it particularly interesting that the claim of the opposition team's motion is that more awareness equals easier access. Madam Speaker, I have to disagree. How are more magazines, pamphlets, brochures, flyers, and billboards going to equal easier access? The effectiveness of these promotional means are being questioned now. Is a billboard going to be able to effectively inform our community of services as well as where to get these services? Or will it just be a bunch of chaos on a board that doesn't serve any purpose but to distract drivers nearby? Madam Speaker, I firmly believe that if this motion were to pass, it would be of no significance, simply redundant to the many methods of promotion we already have. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Does any other member wish to speak? Recognize the Honorable Premier.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I rise to speak on motion 1 of private member of motion number 1 of 2021, the implementation of a website and application for promoting amenities and resources that benefit the Cayman Islands community. I'm going to try and keep this short and sweet. I rise to acknowledge a minor error on the side of the opposition of identifying accessibility to government amenities as the same as awareness of those same amenities. As I'm sure you know, there's a distinct distance of being able to access something and being aware of them. The motion specifically states that it is acknowledged that this will provide easier access and ease of reference to these amenities. I will say it again. It is acknowledged that this will provide easier access and ease of reference to these amenities. Not may make it easier, not might make it easier, but it will make it easier. Within the motion, there is a mention of a lack of advertising and how there needs to be an increase in said advertising. There is not, however, any mention as to how awareness of these facilities will allow Caymanian people to more easily access and utilize those same facilities. I would also like to quickly acknowledge the previously mentioned tools already in place for the people to use, such as various social media outlets that the government body currently uses on a regular basis to give updates on the COVID pandemic and other such useful positives for the Caymanian people. I believe we can trust the people to make good use of these facilities in place of their own, in order to gain their own advantage for the community as a whole. We don't need any more than is necessary at the moment, I believe we are already doing a lot to ensure the people have the information they want and need. Thank you.
Does any other member wish to speak? I recognize the elected member for West Bay Central.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I rise in support of the private member's motion number 1 of 2021. Following up with what my peers have stated, I'll be discussing the public transport's current disadvantage with our promotional and why us, the Youth Parliament opposition, will urge the Youth Parliament government to take notice of our predicament and the opposition's solution towards it. Public transportation opportunities given by the government and private owners isn't a problem. In fact, we have many options for public transportation. However, what we don't have is the promotional for them. Most, if any, advertisement is catered towards tourists on the island, and there isn't much information on sites that are made for Cayman residents. Most of the sites that contain information on public transportation are made for tourists, so it would be rare that you see a Cayman resident on these sites. Even sites made for Cayman residents and tourists alike, an example of this is CaymanAirports.com, still uses language that is directed towards tourists. Furthermore, while we may have plenty of public transportation options, since these are not all run by government, there's opportunity for manipulation. One prominent example that many of us would be aware of has to do with the bus fares. While the price to catch a bus is $2, if you don't know this or ask, they may say it's $5, $6, $7, even $8, which is unfair to those Cayman residents and tourists taking the bus for the first time, who wouldn't know these things. Having the proper advertisement for transport opportunities would allow not only for the awareness of them, but also information about how to get them, prices, etc. This kind of promotional will prevent such manipulation as this one. And while there is information out there, a large portion of Cayman residents, especially young Caymanians who are most in need of this information, can't find it. This is because there's very little promotion as to where to even find or get this information. CIGO Taxi Fare app, an app that allows you to track the taxi that you're in and how much fare you owe, has only 1,000 downloads. When the population of the Cayman Islands is around 64,000, doing the math, this means that less than 2% of Caymanians have this app. And of that 1,000 downloads, some of those could be tourists who came and visited the island and just have the app on their phone. So that less than 2% could be even less. This low amount of downloads show how little effort is going into the promotion of transportation information that would help Cayman residents. The Youth Parliament government need to realize that our current promotional that the Cayman Islands is offering isn't acceptable. Nor is it acceptable to any visitors of the Cayman Islands who may not know things that only residents would be expected to know. The Cayman Islands can no longer rely on simple word of mouth for the spread of information. We need to do better for our Caymanians, for our Cayman residents, and tourists alike.
Does any other member wish to speak? I recognize the Honorable Attorney General.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for allowing me to speak in this honourable House. It is my role as Attorney General to bring to the House's attention that there are statutes which provide for the Cayman Islands community to access to information, and some laws which may infringe on this promotion as well. The Data Protection Law, which came into effect September 30th, 2019, is a very important law which I believe should be referenced in relation to this motion. The Data Protection Law is, in its name, a law which protects the misuse of data from a user from companies and websites who are wanting to use it. Of course, this can prevent the use of ads and therefore the promotion of websites and other electronic amenities to whom it must be directed to, creating an obstruction in the freedom at which the government can promote their resources to an efficient ability. This means that in order to promote information to the best of ability, there is a legal boundary the government cannot cross in order to rightfully protect the data of the people in the Cayman Islands. In addition, the Cayman Islands Freedom of Information Act states that, on the government website, the Freedom of Information Law 2020 revision reinforces and gives further effect to these fundamental principles underlying the system of constitutional democracy by granting to the public a general right of access to records held by the Cayman Islands government. It is clear that this is an example of the variety of services offered by the government, allowing the privilege that all Caymanians can access information by the government quickly and easily. This Freedom of Information Act provides an ease of reference to all laws in reference to certain amenities which were listed by the opposition, which include laws on transportation/traffic, traffic law 2011, financial aid, monetary authority law 2018, and grants, private funds law 2020. Moreover, Madam Speaker, most importantly, I believe the Cayman Islands Information and Communications Law 2019 revision is one of the most important laws I must mention this evening. Some important sections of this law, I believe, must be pointed out are, in summary, Section 9, Part 3A, which the government states that their duty is to promote competition of ICT services and ICT networks. This means allowing more websites and applications for promoting amenities and government services, directly in reference to the opposition's motion. And Section 9, Part 3BC, which the government states that they must promote through public education, research and development initiatives, ICT in the islands. In better words, Madam Speaker, it promises exactly what the opposition believes must be implemented: the promotion of ICT, which includes websites and applications in the Cayman Islands. Finally, Madam Speaker, it is also important to mention the Cayman Islands Tourism Law 1995 revision. Section 4, Part 1 of this law says, in the discharge of his function, the minister may take all measures he deems fit to promoting the islands as a year-round tourist resort, and for that purpose shall use his best endeavors to, Section C, encourage the development of amenities calculated to attract visitors to the islands. These amenities include brochures, websites, flyers, social media, magazines. The encouragement/promotion of amenities, in which the opposition's motion focuses on, must ensure that they are conforming with these rules in this law, as it directly benefits the Cayman Islands community, as our economy depends on tourism. It is one of our main industries, and economically one of our biggest sources of finance, and thus this law answers the motion of the opposition. Thank you, Madam Speaker, for allowing me to speak in this honourable House.
Does any other member wish to speak? I recognize the Deputy Leader of the Opposition, elected member for Bodden Town West.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. As the Deputy Leader of Opposition, today it is astonishing that the Youth Parliamentarian Government have offered themselves to present minimum support to a motion that is so beneficial to the people of the Cayman Islands. Not only is this motion beneficial to our beloved island, it is also needed. It is a modern necessity. Why not care for one another and help each other out? To support the initiative of this motion, I'll be discussing the fields of employment, infrastructure, environment, and health. Madam Speaker, to start on employment, the current jobs and job situations offered by the Youth Parliamentarian Government are limited in promotion, yet reach expats before reaching our local Caymanian citizens. Stated from the Cayman Islands employment law, under discrimination, an employer or prospective employer shall not, on the grounds specified in subsection number 2, discriminate in relation to race, color, sex, and religion. So why are Caymanians clueless to these situations? Despite small promotions, the furthering sources such as recruitment.gov.ky and linkedin.com seem to lean towards expats. The answer for this is yet to be identified. But stated by the law, all employers or prospective employers shouldn't be discriminated. Another main problem would be that too many jobs and opportunities sit on websites while time is going past. Us Caymanians shouldn't have to rely on the latest newspaper or Cayman Marlowe to inform us on any jobs. No offense. Nonetheless, going on seven different sources to find similar information. 7, really? What about one app? The lack of promotion on current jobs decreased the growth of companies by a large amount each year. Madam Speaker, some might say with the current websites and small amounts of information, the sister islands have nothing to complain about. But with research and statistics supported by an online survey done by a member of the opposition of Google Forms, in the Cayman Islands, less than 50% of the Cayman citizens know where to find job applications, let alone know the websites for them. What are the positive effects from this? As well as this, another main question was asked, and I quote, "Do you think the Cayman Islands government should implement a website and app that provides efficient and accurate information for the amenities and resources that are offered and available in the Cayman Islands?" Let that sink in. When the results were brought in, a grand 93.3% voted yes. What I tell you? Madam Speaker, this simply states that our island is in desperate need for a change. On the 13th of February, 2021, 30 different jobs sat on the government's website with a 26 to 6 day deadline, and not one of them were brought forward publicly. Deadlines were even passed on that day. To support this, it's somewhere down there. To support this point, I put forward a screenshot taken on that day and a tally made by adults in my school, Clifton Hunter, showing their knowledge over the website that was posted. Once again, the tally showed that 75% of them were clueless. Infrastructure. Revolving different industries, this is as simple as knowing the latest updates Leader of the opposition stated that he was talking to high school children. However, high school children should be focusing on CXCs and stuff, not buildings being built by government, and as well as statistics on jobs that they can't even apply for, Madam Speaker. So I'll ask you to ask them to retract that statement.
Deputy Leader of the Opposition, do you
Madam
have
Speaker, sorry about that, but what was the point of order? Also, I said teachers, so CXC not really in the picture, you know? Anyways, let's see. All right, like I said, sorry. These are usually said by news sources or carried around the island by speech. In 2021, with a high developing island, everyone should know and understand what's going on around us and taking place in the coming weeks, months, or years. This is also tied with environment, as the island are usually unaware of productivity until seen. An application/website would be ideal for situations in error like these. Where would be the hassle when you open your phone, computer, or electric device to a multifunctional app that states and provides all the latest news and updates for Cayman? Think about that. For example, relevancy today would come under the COVID-19 vaccinations and health updates from each patient. To keep in touch with the news and the latest news for the Cayman Islands. The app's promotion and the updates will provide convenience and assistance for each resident in the Cayman Islands. Madam Speaker,
To emphasize on what I mean by wanting a change for the limited promotion, we should be able to go on one single application or one single website and get everything we need there. It's much easier. This will range from all sorts of information, like job applications to
You
recent
have 30
news.
seconds remaining.
Yes, ma'am. To recent news. Targeting all age groups, this will be easy accessible. And with the help of this app, citizens will no longer have to wait for information. CI Online is a modern necessity for the Cayman Islands, and only fools will disagree. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Does any other member wish to speak? I recognize the Honorable Leader of the Opposition, elected member for Georgetown Central.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I rise in support of private member's motion number 1 of 2021. As we have already established, there is a lack of marketing and promotion of services offered within the Cayman Islands. There are so many programs and initiatives offered here, and there's not enough advertising done. Too many times I have seen locals, my classmates, potential leaders of tomorrow, leaving the island and seeking better education elsewhere. Better opportunities. I am tired of hearing the word better in relation to different countries. I want better here. I want better for my own country. I want to hear that my classmates have an option and it is not a requirement for them to leave the country to seek higher education, to seek opportunities. Yes, the government information services are doing something, but Madam Speaker, is it enough? We are living in the 21st century where technology is the primary source of marketing and being aware. Is it really where it's supposed to be? Madam Speaker, government needs to Madam Speaker, government needs to wake up and recognize that we are not the enemy. We are doing our job. And if they were doing theirs, they would not.
Recognize the Honorable Attorney General.
Madam Speaker, point of elucidation. I would like to know how, sorry.
Do you accept her
I
point?
do not accept, ma'am.
Okay, please continue.
We are living in the 21st century where technology is the primary source of marketing and being aware. Is it really where it's supposed to be? Madam Speaker, government needs to wake up and recognize that we are not the enemy. We are doing our job. And if they were doing theirs, we would not be here today going back and forth, dictating how a simple task like marketing is a positive impact on our country, our community, our youth. Madam Speaker, government should know that GIS is all but the mouthpiece. Information needs to be flowing from the different departments in government. Information is out of date, services are not working, government needs to wake up and smell the coffee. Why do we constantly have to wait until something is broken? Why do we get so caught up in our daily activities that we ignore the signals that something is not working? Madam Speaker, I am here as an advocate for my community. I know my purpose and my role. I see the warning, I see the signs of wear, I see the cracks in the system and hear my country pleading for help. Yet, government waits. They wait for elections to come around to do something, Madam Speaker. They put their own gains above the country's. Madam Speaker, why does government wait until elections are around the corner to do something? Will we have to wait for the next 4 years for them to do something now? Madam Speaker, I am frustrated. I am beyond appalled with the behavior today. The suggestions, the arguments brought here today are disregarding the overall fact that what we have right now is not working, and we would like to improve it. The question today is, what are we going to do about it? Are we going to do something about it, or are we going to discuss until we are exhausted and end up doing absolutely nothing, which is a precedent for a lot of things around here? Madam Speaker, I would like to quote the Freedom of Information Law 2020 revision. Section 5, which outlines publication of information by public authorities, and I quote, "A public authority shall cause to be published within 12 months of the appointed day, its establishment or the coming into operation of an order." I would also like to cite Section 6, which states, "Subject to the provision of this law, every person shall have a right to obtain access to a record." Madam Speaker, let me say that again for the people in the back, because I really do not think they heard me. Every person shall have a right to obtain access to a record. Madam Speaker, the law does not say some people, or that the records need to be updated when government feels like it. It states every person and that they have a right to obtain access to a record. Madam Speaker, I feel like I have done my job. I can conclude my speech now. Madam Speaker, our motion wants to implement a website and application for promotion of amenities and resources that benefit the Cayman Islands community so that every person could obtain access to helpful information. Thank you.
Does any other member wish to speak? I recognize the Honorable Deputy Speaker, elected member for Georgetown West.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the Honorable Leader of Opposition is right. The government needs to wake up. Because I just came back to reality. The opposition speeches were so boring that I began to daydream. While daydreaming, though, Madam Speaker, a question clicked. The two most important days of our lives.
Recognize the Honorable Leader of Opposition.
Point of order, Madam Speaker. I would like to refer to section 4:1.1. The presiding officer, after having called the attention of the House or of a committee to the conduct of a member who persists in irrelevance or tedious repetition, either of his own arguments or the arguments used by the other members, may direct the member to discontinue his speech and to resume his seat. Madam Speaker, what he has said is very much irrelevant. I'd like to hear about the private member's motion number 1.
Honorable Deputy Speaker, what is your response?
She will hear about private member motion number 1, but it's just as irrelevant as you just said. Madam Speaker, the two most important days of our lives are the day that we are born and the day we find out what in the world is this opposition's motion.
Please be seated.
Madam Speaker, I am simply failing to understand what the opposition wants
Honorable
the
Deputy
government to do with
Speaker.
their motion.
Please be seated. Honorable Leader of Opposition.
Madam Speaker, I'd like to make reference to Standing Order 4:1.1, irrelevance. Can he please get to the point?
Honorable Deputy Speaker, please get to the point.
Madam Speaker, starting off with the elected member of Newlands, jumping out her skin to tell us what this motion is about, only to be breaking Standing Order 24.4, which reads as follows. A motion shall not contain personal opinions or controversial allegations unnecessary to the main issue upon which the House is being moved to declare its will. As the Honorable Premier said, in the opposition's motion in the third whereas section, it says that this will provide something. Madam Speaker, is a direct violation to the standing order, as there's no way she can promise anything to the people of the Cayman Islands. Madam Speaker, since we're on the base of breaking apart the motion because I'm supposed to get to the point, I want to draw your undivided attention to the second whereas, where it declares, and whereas it acknowledges that there should be websites, applications, magazines, pamphlets, brochures, flyers, billboards, and the list goes on. But what caught my eye was where they stated social media. Madam Speaker, it is quite bold of the opposition to assume that everyone has social media or is technology inclined. As the elected member of Georgetown West, I have a question for the opposition. Can they provide the funds to ensure the people in my constituency can be trained on how to use these social media devices?
Honorable Leader of the Opposition.
Madam Speaker, I'd like to make reference to Standing Order 32.4. A member.
Madam Speaker, point of order 32.4 has been suspended.
32.4 has been suspended.
Point of order, Madam Speaker. A member desiring to speak may raise in his place, and if called upon by the presiding officer, shall address the chair. No member shall speak until called upon.
Please continue.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, as I said before, as the elected member of Georgetown West, I have a question for the opposition. Can they provide the funds to ensure that people in my constituency can be trained on how to use all these social media devices that they impose? And on top of that, then funds to ensure that people in my constituency can be given these technology devices.
Please be seated. Honorable Leader of the Opposition.
Point of elucidation, Madam Speaker.
Madam Speaker, I decline. Madam Speaker, as we all know, money is the root of all evilness. So now I'm beginning to understand why all the opposition is doing is asking us to spend. Madam Speaker, they are not taking into consideration that there is no direct financial return to the government when promoting such amenities and resources.
Please be seated. Honorable Leader of the Opposition.
Madam Speaker, point of order. Can this member provide information regarding the fact that there will be no returns for funds?
Madam Speaker, if you reference that one to the Attorney General, she knows all the laws and they say that there's no direct financial return to the government.
Yes, ma'am.
Madam Speaker, can it be please provided?
Honorable Attorney General.
Madam Speaker, can that point please be repeated?
Can you please provide documentation in regards to what he just said?
What law are you referring to?
Honorable Leader of Opposition, please be seated. Honorable Deputy Speaker, can you tell the Honorable Attorney General what she must provide?
Madam Speaker, I will retract that statement.
Thank you. Please continue.
Madam Speaker, all the opposition is doing is telling us why, and not how. They can even tell us simple things such as where we should and are going to get the funds from to promote all these brochures, magazines, billboards, etc. So if the opposition wants to talk about promoting amenities and resources, they need to first put their money where their mouth is. Madam Speaker, allow me to relay a piece of information that was disclosed earlier by the Minister of Education. 2 government websites that promote amenities and resources are gov.ky and eservices.gov.ky. And these were not the first these websites were being mentioned by today. But now look, Madam Speaker, the opposition is once again shocked by that piece of information. They're over there hyperventilating. Quick, someone call an ambulance. Madam Speaker, before the opposition comes to us with a unified proposition on how to solve these issues that they claim we have, they're attacking the governments for the efforts that we have made that has so far been successful and benefited thousands.
Honorable Leader
Madam
of Opposition.
Speaker, can he please provide this proof where he says it's benefited thousands?
Honorable Deputy Speaker, do you have proof of this?
I do not have the proof of that. However, it is a known fact or that this motion would not be created today.
Honorable Leader of Opposition.
Madam Speaker, if he does not have the proof, he needs to retract the statement. It is untrue.
Honorable Deputy Speaker, if you do not have the proof, I must ask you to retract your statement.
Madam Speaker, I will not retract my statement.
Honorable Leader of Opposition.
Madam Speaker, I'm asking him to retract the statement because he does not have proof.
Honorable Deputy Speaker, what's your response?
My response is the motion here created today figuratively comments my response as in to say there's no evidence to say it has benefited thousands. If it benefited no one, the government over here would not have created the website in the first place, and they would not need to implement a new motion to create another website to benefit more. As the Honorable Deputy Leader of the Opposition stated, he used the website to promote, he used the website to conduct an interview or a survey amongst Clifton Hunter people to get responses. So how is these information for the survey being displayed to Clifton Hunter when there is nothing that doesn't show up my proof?
Please be seated. Honorable Leader of Opposition.
Madam Speaker, all I am asking of this member is for him to either retract the statement or provide proof of his findings.
He just did. He supported his argument. So I believe that he can continue.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, one thing for fact, 2 things for certain, this motion is poorly structured. I don't know how this motion was even going to be allowed to be presented into this honorable house. It is now clear to me that if the Honorable Leader of the Opposition allowed her opposition members to bring forth this motion, the only thing she's leading is leading the opposition astray. Madam Speaker, the blind cannot lead the blind, so this should be thankful that I can see over here today. A year ago, I said in this very house, the people are taking the comedians more seriously and the politicians as jokes. This motion is the type of joke they're talking about. You really mean to tell me the opposition is pushing for a motion to put up billboards that can't feed people, flyers that can't lower gas prices, and pamphlets that can't even fund gusts, much less breeze, Madam Speaker? Madam Speaker, the opposition needs to remember that we are here for the people, by the people, to represent the people, Madam Speaker, to represent the people in the House of Parliament, not in Prospect Playhouse, so the opposition is clearly in the wrong house, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, while I can say the opposition motion is somewhat commendable, they need to adjust it and put their priorities first and in orders. Billboards cannot fix the cost of living in the Cayman Islands that so many are suffering from. Pamphlets cannot help with the increase of the minimum wage. Flyers cannot get our youth properly educated. And most importantly, social media cannot put a moratorium on the importation of vehicle of cars. Madam Speaker, I'll ask you to allow me 30 more seconds. Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, it is simple. Billboards, flyers, brochures, magazines, etc. are in the definition of itself. All talk and no action. What are billboards going to do? Tell a man who's making $6 an hour that you can do it. You keep pushing, come to the government for money. No, Madam Speaker, it is foolishness, just like the opposition's motion. So for the opposition to come here and tell us the government has not done a good job and they want to promote something that has already been promoting is completely and utterly wrong. I say this wholeheartedly. I must, and I will reject this motion, Madam Speaker. Thank you.
Does any other member wish to speak? Does any other member wish to speak? If no other member wishes to speak, I will ask the mover of the motion to exercise her right of reply.
Madam Speaker, I would like to bring forward this piece of this document that I have here that has screenshots of the various different websites that the government has here. If I could present this, just for reference. As the government has stated, they're asking where exactly we can find these funds to help teach, in a sense, the government how to use these websites like social media and whatnot. But I'd like to say, how can you say that you are able to promote all of these services properly if you don't even know how to use Instagram, much less Facebook? The government has stated that they have various websites that are used to promote and inform the public. But why do you need so many? Is not one website, one app enough? Our motion is to instate not another website that will have just additional information, but a new one that would combine all of this information so that we don't have to continuously look across various web interfaces to find them. And who's to say that those websites that are up have all this website traffic as they claim? Notice that how all the websites that were listed are commonly used, while government has websites that are not up to date that people need to use. Why are these sites not up to date? Because they just aren't used. Shouldn't that always be updated and maintained, at the very least reviewed? With so many websites and so many things to constantly update and keep track of, I'm certain that the opposition is not looking into the water and seeing things that come out of nowhere. We have seen where the government has fallen short in not necessarily the advertisements, but the information that is promoted online. Where is all this? Where did this motion come from, if not viewing all of these missing information that is online? It's coming from somewhere. And if the government cannot maintain all of its sites and properly maintain and review them constantly, who's to say that the ones that they do have up are up to date? Madam Speaker, also, to the fact that the Minister of Education did not give way to the point of elucidation shows how much she actually cares about the youth of our islands.
Madam Speaker, point of order.
Please be seated.
I reverse my point of order to 35-4. No member shall use improper motives towards another member.
What is your response?
I'll move on.
No, please retract your statement.
I will retract my statement. My apologies. Is the government suggesting that we already don't have people who are working to promote all of these amenities? If we have the people working already to promote, is it that much difficult to review all of them and make it more efficient? Even if perhaps a new website would not be a better idea, as the government is saying, wouldn't it not also be better to listen to what the opposition is saying in terms of if there is deficiencies within what is already existent, so then you should listen to when there is more advice. If we are saying, if the opposition, is saying that there are deficiencies within the marketing and promotion and the information that is displayed online. Perhaps as the government who leads and should take care of our islands, you should take into account that there must be something that needs to be changed. Perhaps it is updating these websites so that they are more pleasant to look at and more easy to find, or perhaps that there's information there that is missing or not properly updated and reviewed. If this motion did not come to what it needed to be, perhaps there's something the government can take out of it, which is there are deficiencies and they should be reviewed and they should be updated. Thank you.
The question is, be it now therefore resolved that this Honorable Youth Parliament considers implementing a website and application for promotion of amenities and resources that benefit the Cayman Islands community. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those against, no.
No.
Madam Speaker, I'd like to call a division, please.
Madam Clerk, may I have a division, please?
Honorable Ryan Frick.
No.
Honorable Matthew Houghton. Honorable Shira Dawkins. No. Honorable Johnny Lund. No. Honorable Sharika McPherson. Honorable Jamar McCoy.
No.
Honorable Kira Bodden. No. Miss Ariana Anglin. No. Mr. Jelani Hansen.
No.
Honorable Rion Porter. No. Honorable Leah Robinson.
Yes.
Mr. Jerry Allen Ezekiel.
Yes, Mom.
Mr. Andrew McLaughlin Jr.
Yes.
Ms. Shankar Palraj. Mr. Shankar Palraj. Ms. Sarah Sato Bodden.
Yes.
Ms. Sierra Chong.
Yes.
Ms. Shayla Reed.
Yes.
The result of the division is 7 ayes and 9 noes. Private Members Motion Number 1 of 2021, implementing a website and application of promoting amenities and resources that